So we are at IMEX today in the Panama booth, and we're talking to Fernando Fondevila. And what's your title there?
I am the CEO of the destination marketing organization for Panama. It's called PROMTUR Panama.
Great. I want to talk a little bit about the convention and trade show industry in Panama and what people can expect if they want to go to your destination to hold an event. So tell us a little bit about some of the new things that you have going on there.
First of all, I have to start with Panama being an authentic destination because of all our influx in culture and history throughout the years that made us so special. So that is a beacon of our pride, first of all. But when we're talking about meetings industry and how are we prepared to have the best congresses, events, and be a source for meeting planners, first of all, Panama connectivity is one of the key advantages. Panama is the best connected city within the Latin America region with more than 80 non-stop services between North, Central, South America, and the Caribbean and Europe. So facilitating that ease of access is fundamental for meeting planners and for large corporations, congresses, and incentive travel to select the destination. The other one would be our infrastructure. Panama City is a small country and it's an easy way to move around within the city, but within a very short distance, you have in the capital about 20,000 hotel rooms. So that obviously allows the opportunity to hold from small, medium to large size events in our country. We have the new convention center, which is at the entrance of the Panama Canal. It is a beautiful building that has an S shape, which is our geographic form, and invites the meeting planners to select a destination, not also because of the beauty of the cultural attraction and the history, but also because of the infrastructure. The new convention center has the capacity to hold around 23,000 guests between the meetings rooms and the exhibition halls. It has latest technology and it is equipped again with all the amenities that are necessary so that our guests are actually having the best experience. The location itself is magnificent because it is at the entrance of the Panama Canal on the Pacific Ocean, and you can actually see large ships or cruise ships going in and out of the Panama Canal while you're holding an event, you're holding a convention, and you see this beautiful natural portrait, which is unique of our country, having one of the wonders of the world, which is the Panama Canal.
Right.
Now, next to the convention center, another venue that tells the story of how Panama emerged from the ocean many millions of years ago and changed the biodiversity of the world is the Biodiversity Museum designed by architect Frank Getty. And it, like I said, it tells you the story in many aspects on how we actually did emerge from the ocean and connected the Americas and changed biodiversity for good. So if you're holding a congress or a meeting or incentive travel, that is another location, another place that you don't want to miss because it tells a lot of the history of not only Panama, but about Latin America as a whole region.
Now, do people hold events there, like receptions and things like that?
Correct. It is a venue that, aside from the history that you can learn from, you can actually hold an actual event, and it's a venue for this particular, let's say, incentive travel or a dinner or a gala related to a congress or convention. When talking about infrastructure, and I said about the convention center, which actually has only about a year of nonstop operation, we have
a lot of people may not be familiar with it because since it's only been open for a year.
Yeah, about a year, exactly. Yeah. But we're very proud about the record-breaking numbers based on our goals. But obviously, we want to be a convention center that is basically filled on an everyday basis. So we're working hard. You see us here in IMEX promoting our destination, and the convention center actually has their own representation along with us. So we can tell the advantages of holding an event there. But in IMEX right now, at our stand, we have 18 more between hotels and DMCs participating. Each one of them can actually present their offer and tell you what is it that there is actually truth about the best destination of Latin America. So infrastructure-wise, aside from the convention center, within the capital, within the city, there are at least about 10 other hotels, large chains of hotels, highly renowned, that can offer their own convention centers and hold meetings and events. We're up to, let's say, about 1,000 guests. So that is a good size convention center or meeting rooms for the meeting planners to consider when they're actually looking for a destination. We have unique attractions, like I said, the Biodiversity Museum, but around the conventions and congresses, obviously you want to plan fun activities and things to do that are not only being at a building and at a room the whole day, But for that, for example, pre and post tours are ideal in Panama because of a very short distance between the convention center or between the hotels. And let's say our Metropolitan National Park is nested within the Panama Canal Riviera, and it has unique attractions such as living for a day with one of our 7 indigenous communities that actually reside in the country and are empowered to handle about 24% of our country. They're basically handled by indigenous communities. We have 7 of those, and within the Panama Canal Riviera, easy access, you can actually get on along and then visit a community for the whole day and learn about their ancestral culture and their connection to nature that has allowed them to be sustainable throughout the years. And that is basically our roots in Panama, the original Panamanians. And Panama, it's like a melting pot or a mosaic. We have so many culture and nationalities residing in Panama, and that has allowed us to have being named a cultural capital of gastronomy by UNESCO. So when you go to the old town or the old quarters, basically you not only admire the architecture, Hispanic influence and French influence that we have, but also you're going to be able to enjoy, delight one of the best cuisines, international cuisines in the region, not only because we say so, but also we've been named a gastronomy capital of the world by UNESCO. So what else can I tell you? Panama, like I said, is a small size country. And by being a small size country, you can hold an event in the capital, or if you want to have an incentive trip perform in Panama, you can go all the way to the west part of the country, which is actually a 35-minute flight from the Tocumen International Airport, and then land on the highlands. The highlands actually portray the volcano Baru, which is the highest point of the country, where you can actually, on a clear day, you can see the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean Sea from the same place, from the highest point in Panama. And that is very unique because there is no other place in Latin America where you can see both oceans from a specific point. And not only that, aside from being at the top of the highest point in Panama, you can see a coffee of geisha coffee, which is actually the best coffee in the world. The highest valuable coffee in the world is produced in the vicinities of the volcano Baru.
Do you have some here?
We need to ask the ladies, but they should have some here. They should have.
Since you said it like
and if
that.
they don't, I'm gonna pull their ears.
Yeah.
But like I said,
Yeah.
the other of the unique attractions or opportunities is working with the DMO, that it is very proud of the culture and the history of who we are, the Panamanians. That also encompasses services. So our DMO, there is a specific department within the destination marketing organization that holds business development and services. And what I mean by that is we accompany you when you're planning a meeting or an event in Panama, and you probably have not known much about what I've said before. We will be there to assist you from the beginning to the end. We will be part of the journey. And that is something that is fairly new for the country. We've never had a destination marketing organization before. So this is an apolitical destination marketing organization with the purpose of having a consistent messaging and marketing and promotion of the country, regardless of a political cycle change. So the services department actually, it's comprised of teams of professionals that knows about the country, knows about working with tour operators, with DMCs and hotels that can actually make your planning a lot more easier.
Funded like how they are in the U.S. in terms of hotel taxes? Is that how the DMO is funded? And then how long has the DMO been around then? You said it's new.
We are currently publicly funded only. And we are working, obviously, we work very close with the private sector, and that includes obviously the hotel areas. And right now we're working or discussing different ways of continue to fund our organization so that we can propel that promotion internationally speaking. Right now we've been around for about 2 years. In 2 years that it's out of the 2 years, a year and a half or a year at least, it's been a rough path. You know that because we have all lived the pandemic. So we actually started operation in the midst of the pandemic with a brand new campaign, like Discover Your Nature was the name of the campaign, but we wanted to reconnect and wanted the travelers to connect with a destination where there's always something new to discover and where we irradiate with life. So that's how we began the overall promotion of Panama. We launched a touristic brand in October 2021, and it's basically called Panama Live for More. Because in Panama, you would always find, like I said, something that will connect you, something full of energy, where the Panamanians are proud. And actually, Panama Live for More is a beacon of our pride that is rooted on our sustainability vision or sustainable tourism, because we do want to be the country of leading the sustainable tourism by 2025 in the region. And what I mean by that is helping leave a legacy, helping the community. And not only aside from the economic impact, which is very important, we also want communities to be self-sustainable, have a social impact, continue to educate our new generations, and that is part of the legacy and the responsibility of the DMO. But it's been a great journey having to develop an overall destination marketing organization from scratch and looking for the best talent, highest committed professional. It wasn't an easy task, but I can tell you that I am very proud of the organization that we have become. Obviously, there is a road to continue to go ahead, but right now, in the meetings industry, for example, we never had as a country a program where we prospect our destination continuously, and that is also supported by an incentive program for the meeting planners to help the corporations decide why Panama is a destination. What I mean by that is we are giving you the overall full spiel of the services that we can provide and why Panama is an ideal destination, but we're also helping you to reduce your costs by facilitating logistics, transportation, DMO services, to put together folkloric shows around the event so that basically are going to beautify your event, but also it's going to tell you a bit more about the history and the culture of Panama. And those are part of the incentive program that we put in place, so to speak, like a cashback program. So at the end of the day, we run the overall analysis of the event or Congress, and we obviously have to present what the economic impact for the country would be of holding this event or putting some funds into it. But at the end, it will be speak like a cashback because it is paid based on the number of attendees that finally we had at the event.
So did you have a convention center before this new one opened in 2021?
We had a very much smaller one, and it is still operating. It's actually undergoing renovation. So while we have this brand new building, they're actually undergoing renovation. And if I tell you this one has a capacity, the new one has a capacity of the 23,000 guests. The other one, I would probably say around 5,000. It would be the capacity. It has a theater where we hold concerts and particular events. It's a very well-known theater in Panama for many years, and it's actually being renewed again because aside from our national theater in the old town or the old quarters, which is a beautiful building, historic building built by Spaniards, the national theater where the other convention is, which is called Atlapa, it has a particular shape that preserves the sound. So when you're listening to a concert or a show or even a soap opera happening in live, the sound is very particular, and you could be in the first row or the last row, and you're going to be listening to it without a problem. So that is being preserved right now, and it should be ready to go up again into the market by 2023.
So what shows would be the best fit for Panama if people who are looking to take their shows to different places? So what markets or industries? You said it's a regional hub, right, for some industries. So which ones are those, and what would be the perfect types of shows to come to Panama?
Historically, Panama has been a multi-regional corporation hub. So we have a very important numbers of multi-regional corporations which have decided to establish their offices in Panama. And I'm talking about the Dells of the world, Procter & Gamble, just to mention a few. But they actually moved a lot of their staff from the region into our country. But these organizations are holding conventions, and they're holding congresses. They're looking at different destinations, but they have their own regional office in Panama. We have authentic experiences. We have the infrastructure and the ease of access with the connectivity to bring the guests from the corporations or the offices. So that would be one segment. The corporate segment, it's important because of all the attributes that I just mentioned. Associations wise, it's a key one. They rotate their destinations, and they would always have their shows, and they're planning ahead 2-3 years or even more. Association segment is the one that we are really working hard to gain more footprint in the market. Why? Because of what I said, is of easy access. In Panama, we have one of the previous military bases by the days when we had U.S. territory territory in Panama being handled by the U.S. One of the military bases very close to the first locks in the Panama Canal. It's about 35 minutes away from the city center. It's called the City of Knowledge. And the City of Knowledge actually gathers all together from the different ONGs of the world. They're all having a seat or an office in Panama. Plus, you're having universities, international universities that have established branches. And then again, associations are also establishing themselves around the City of Knowledge, which has a lot of advantages for these associations to be established there. So that's an important segment that we're also offering and opening the doors of our country for. And last but not least, obviously, we want everything. But the incentive travel, it's key. Incentive travel because in Panama, there are different seasons throughout the year where you can really have an authentic, unbeatable experience. Let me put you an example. Like right now, we're about to end the whale watching season. Watching season has become more and more popular in Panama, where we see the whales coming from the north and the south. They actually mate around in the Pacific Bay area. They have their cubs and they actually raise them for the first few months in the Bay Area. And that is a very unique kind of attraction to experience while being at
So
one
it's
of,
right now. It's at this time of year.
it is this
Yeah.
time of year. So
Okay.
it begins between June and all the way up to October. And actually, this has been a very particular whale watching season because they probably climate change, probably they're being more, I don't know, more friendly, or they feel they're in their territory, that they're getting very close to the shoreline now. So sometimes you need to, not sometimes, but you need to go on a boat to an archipelago, which is about 2 hours from the city, or you can go to other three spots around the Pacific Ocean and watch them, which is fine because these are very nice destinations to get to know. But these whales are now coming closer to shore that you don't need to hop on a ship or a boat.
So can you see it from the convention center?
Yes, there have
Yeah.
been a lot of sightings from the convention center and people posting it on their social media because it's something that it's amazing. You see I'm talking about humpback whales. Some of them are large proportion and they're being very curious about getting very close to us and we don't mind. We actually, with the Panama Canal Commission, we actually changed the path of how the ships enter and get out of the Panama Canal in the Pacific Ocean so that all the ships actually do not encounter the whales in their path and harm them. So that has been also, it was in conjunction with the Smithsonian Research Institute and the Panama Canal and some other key scientifics who actually changed the path of how the ships are going to enter and exit the Panama Canal. So
You know how there's been a ton of ships because of the supply chain issues and shipping issues. How is it down there right now?
it's very busy. The Panama Canal has seen record numbers recently. It has become more and more popular because we have a new set of locks that was not, it was open about 2 to 3 years, I want to say, and that accommodates the Super Panamax ships. So it's the largest ships built in the world right now. We're not actually, did not have the capacity to go through the canal, but when we open this new set of locks, we're actually allowing them to go through the canal, obviously shortening the time for the overall world trade. But right now it's in peak season, I want to say. But in addition to that, we're going to see more and more cruises, which is a very important aspect for the incentive travel because Norwegian Cruise Line and Royal Caribbean, they are both going to have Panama as a home port. Norwegian is actually beginning their operations, if I'm not mistaken, November this year, and then Royal Caribbean would be the second, between the second and the third quarter of 2023. They would have, both would have ships home port in Panama, doing a very unique circle around the Pacific, going through the canal, and then touching key specific points in the Caribbean. So a very good opportunity for incentive travel to do something unique, which is an authentic experience, not only going through the canal, but also having the access to the communities, to the indigenous communities,
That you were
that they're
telling me
very
about.
friendly.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
will be very happy to actually welcome our international guests.
Tell me about really quickly some of the shows that you've had in the last year, some of the big shows that you've had, and some of the ones that you have on the agenda coming up in 23.
Like I said, we had FI Expo, the Comic Con.
And say what that is. Tell me what that is. I'm not familiar with FI
Okay,
Expo.
FI Expo, it's a reference trade or MICE industry event for Latin America. It is, so to speak, if you think about IMEX at a smaller scale, that happens and at least get together 20 countries of Latin America, buyer, supplier, getting into a destination to actually prepare for the upcoming years and based on their needs. So we actually hosted FI Expo for 2022 in this year in June. We had about 2,000 attendees,
Okay.
but 2,000 of, I want to say all the associations were in Panama. First of all, the first time that we have PCMA, UFI, we have MPI, SIDE, to mention a few. There are all the associations were present in Panama for the first time at the same moment. For us, that was a winner because it's an opportunity for us to portray not only the convention center but all the facilities and the authentic experiences that Panama has. So, FIEXPO, we will be hosting it in 2023 and in 2024. The amount of business leads that an event like this can generate, and not me saying it, is obviously we account for all the countries that participate and provide us with their lead generation economic impact. It was more than $300 million. So it is worth hosting an event like this. Panama as a whole, we had the largest booth, obviously, because we were the host country. We had about 32 travel partners in the booth with us, and we had about, I want to say, at least $100 million business leads. That is a very good event. But FIEXPO is actually, they run their destinations, but we were able to secure for 3
3-year
years.
contract. Okay.
Yes.
You also mentioned a Comic Con. Did you just have
We
that?
had
When was
Comic Con. It was right last August.
that? Okay.
And
How many people came to that one?
God,
Do
you got me
know?
on that one, but it was probably more than 3,000, 4,000 attendees that we had. It was an important show for us because obviously it gathers obviously families, kids, and obviously changes the overall environment and fills it with happiness around those days. So it was a very nice show to behold in Panama. And then we actually prospected the country for the robotics Olympiads. And because, like I said before, we're looking forward to education, moving in the social aspect, leaving a legacy, and the Robotics Olympiad is one of the main events to behold in a country that is looking to develop their youth. And
Is that a global event that
it
moves
is a global
around?
event.
Okay.
We worked hard, we fought hard, and we earned the destination for 2023.
Oh, great.
Actually, the Olympiads are happening this year in November in Germany, and we will be the host country for November 2023. So it's the Robotics
how
Olympiad.
many is that supposed to bring in?
6 to 7,000.
Okay.
And they stay for a good amount of days. So
It's a long event.
It's a long event.
Yeah.
The future generation are competing with their engineering projects to change, obviously, the future of the world.
Yeah.
So it is an educational event that portrays the new generations and give them the opportunity to have the forthcoming showcase of their new technologies and ideas. So we're co-hosting this event with the First Lady of Panama.
Uh-huh.
And not only that, with the foundation that actually handles or represents the Robotics Olympiad in Panama is Fundes team. They were actually prospecting along with us, and we earned the destination for 2020. So that's going to be our signature event, I want to say,
For next year.
For next year.
Yeah.
But we'll be holding.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We'll be holding FIEXPO again, and we're looking at different congresses of associations to be held next year. All in all, with the program that I mentioned that we'll be prospecting the country for 2023, 2022
Yeah, what's
and
your
2023.
occupancy look like?
Well, I can tell you the number of events that we have secured,
Okay.
which is about 64 in
33?
2022. In
Oh,
2023 and 22 is 83, about 83, 85. But those 64, what does that represent? More than 21,000 guests that are coming precisely because of an event that we secured. Congress, convention, or a meeting, a particular meeting, or even a incentive travel. Then, in terms of hotel rooms, 84,000 hotel room nights sold that will be sold based on this event, an economic impact of more than 56, 57 million, just precisely about the event. But we know there's actually attendees that's come here before or stay after, and they would actually spend more, stay longer, and those are also one of the goals. When we are promoting a country to conscious traveler, which is our key segment, it's a segment that wants to come to your country to discover authentic new experiences, but also want to be part of developing or social impacting that community.
Yes.
So we are actually doing a lot of promotion specifically to the discerning traveler market and connecting with them emotionally. And that is why we say in Panama, you always live for more. Because we are irradiating with life, and this is where the worlds converge.
I see you also held the Adventure Travel Trade Association. That sounds like a good one for Panama based on
because we're promoting nature, authentic experiences, and the sustainable travel as well, which is part of the goals of ATTA. We held an event in February, which is called Adventure Next, And in that event, we had another 400, 500 attendees that specifically catered for the tourism, the leisure travel market, but adventure tourism. And we've been holding different events with them because we have a partnership with ATTA. That was a very good one because it was about time for Panama to bring the meeting planners or the tour operators and rediscover, after almost 2 years of enclosure that we had, what is it that we have to offer. And when I said authentic experiences, like I mentioned before, the sipping of the geisha coffee atop of the volcano Baru is a very sure one in Panama. But the watching, the indigenous community connection, we have the archipelago of Bocas del Toro in the Caribbean, where you can actually have pristine waters, or do scuba diving, or do surfing, or be just swimming around dolphins in the archipelago bay. So
Nice.
it is a very unique experience at a very warm waters as well, and very within very warm people.
Do you work with any of the public companies like Reed Exhibitions or Informa Markets or Hive Group? I'm just curious. Any of the major independent trade shows bring their trade shows to Panama?
We're not particularly from the DMO side yet. And not to say that we're not interested. We had to solidify the consistent promotion of Panama first. So we worked very hard for the first 2 years in, like I said, developing a new tourism brand, putting together a marketing program nestled on Panama Live for More, developing alliances. We've secured 20 alliances between airlines, online travel agencies, tour operators that are jointly with Panama promoting the destination.
Yeah.
Out of those, we have 16 in place, and there's 4 more to be basically start the execution
So
shortly.
you're building.
So
and
we're
now
building.
actually is the time to get in on the ground level while you are more prepared for
We've been getting more
business
traction in the
and trade
meetings
shows.
industry
Yeah.
as well. And by putting together a program where we actually go and prospect the destination or the events for Panama to be the destination, along with an incentive program, it's also an important route that we have now in the meetings industry. So we feel that we have built a very strong base, and now it's probably our moment to start discussing about partnerships with key independent exhibitions organizations. So that is one, and also in conjunction with the convention center, they also have to be working hard hand on hand with us, because obviously you want to have such of a large building occupied the majority of the time, and we are helping each other. But if you partner with a key association that has their own number of events happening every year and rotating them, the end would be a win-win for all of us.
Panama is an ASM Global managed venue, right?
It is, and that's what I mean by that. That they have close connections with these organizations. They should also be a networking link for us as a DMO to come together to a discussion on where is it that we can partner and get the best out of it.
Yeah, that's great to know. Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Likewise.
Thank
it's
you
my
for
pleasure.
sharing a little bit about Panama.
It's my pleasure.